Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your Making an Impact host for every Thursday night's review. I'm Chad, and we are literally seconds removed from the end of Redemption, bringing at you a huge show. Crazy things happen tonight. Some of them I kind of saw coming, some of them I kind of thought could happen. That doesn't mean that I completely, I'm braced for everything. Like, so first and foremost, the partnership between Lucha Underground and Impact is strong, folks. It's super strong. So let's start with the beginning of the show. I have some complaints, but not many. We open up with Aerostar versus Drago, and this can be a reoccurring theme throughout the show. There was something wrong with if you're looking at it from the stationary camera in the audience, it would be the leftmost post. Wait, that doesn't make sense. The furthest leftmost post. So, you'll see it if you watch. A lot of guys went up in that corner and biffed it pretty hard. Not sure what was up with the tightening of that, or if it was just slick in general, but Aerostar whiffed on there. Brian Cage whiffed on there. I think someone from the House of Hardcore match whiffed on there. So, Phoenix whiffed on there. So there were some issues with that specific corner. I don't know why. So, Aerostar Drago, good stuff. They mentioned before about how they're tag team partners originally. They touch on their friendship, and that this is kind of a showcase match for them. Nothing about this match, I think, was overly special, but I also think that this was a damn good show. Well, not damn good show, damn good showing. Hell of a situation going on with the opener. It was definitely one of those where high flying techniques were on display. Great. It was just, it wasn't anything that I would say would be career defining, but it definitely wasn't bad, like at all. But it could have been better. That's what I'd say about the openers. It could have been better. But it was still a solid 2.5-star match, so I'm not going to sit here and be too much of a judgmental prick about it. But honestly, nothing about it is very memorable. It only happened 3 hours ago, and I don't remember it like at all. I just remember Aerostar went over in the end. Aerostar did have these cool little lighting effects on his masks that Don Callis suggested that Drago should exploit by pouring water on them, thus killing him. That's Don Callis. Oh, by the way, Don Callis is your color commentator for the night. Sanjay's with the company. He was working in a backstage role tonight. Yeah, it's just one of those things where I didn't really see this match not performing at a high enough level. It just kind of, it was good, just should have been better. Could it be the match of the night, though, is the tag team title match? I had a theory that Eli Drake was going to cash in both briefcases tonight. He did not. So, that was whatever. LAX get a phone call beforehand from somebody saying that Conan's been jumped, that we don't know by who. That's going to be a nice little storyline development, because we're going to find out who jumped Conan and took him out. Now, obviously, in real life, Conan had knee surgery and he's going to miss some time with his knee replacement. But the storyline is not just going to be about what happened to Conan, because I think that's going to introduce a new tag team possibility to feud with LAX, but it's also going to present this during the storyline of the match. Santana costs them the titles. So, spoiler, Eli and Scott Steiner win the tag team titles. Santana goes to the outside instead of hitting their street sweeper finisher. And the story on commentary kind of sounded like, because Conan wasn't there to guide them as his manager, Santana took a risk and it backfired, and that's why they were able to get the win tonight. So I like that they're building that storyline up from that moment, off of the attack on Conan. So I thought that was all pretty brilliant stuff. Eli, and it looked amazing in this match. Carried a lot of it because Scott's 55. But Scott Steiner did hit a corner Frankensteiner. He landed like right on his shoulder, so like, you know, stiff landing. But he got up. And I'll say this. For a dude who's got a bad foot, a bad knee, a bad back, and is 55, Scott Steiner not only looked great, but he moved pretty well. All things being even. I'm not saying at 55 he was bouncing around like Ricky Steamboat in his early 20s. But, you know, for a dude who's had a lot of back surgeries, I'm very impressed with him. So, you know, Big Papa Pump's a tag team champion again. Love it. Love it so much. This is actually his second TNA or Impact Wrestling tag team title reign. So that's pretty awesome. Also, and I want to be kind of upfront with this, I'm not sure how I feel about some of these belts. The belts all have a nice kind of... Like, the tag team belts kind of have, like, this 50s comic aesthetic that I think works well. But I'm such a diehard for the old, or not old, but for the long-running TNA tag team title belts that I'm like, eh. The X Division looks like the original one, not the original one, looks like the one that they just had. But it's more defined, it's sculpted, it pops more, it's not, it doesn't look like a Global Force belt with just the Impact sticker on it. So that's a big step up. The women's belt looks like a combination of the Ring of Honor Television Championship from a few years back, or maybe it's still the current one. And I think it's the current one, actually. And the Gift of the Gods Lucha Underground belt with its shape. It's completely... it looks nothing like a women's championship belt in that regard. Like, it doesn't have the Queen's crown. It's not a giant butterfly. It's not pink. This just looks like a belt, and it's a really cool looking belt. It might be the coolest looking Knockouts belt they ever had, and that was pretty cool to see. The World Championship belt is pretty solid. I was a big fan of the 2007 Impact Championship belt, but this was a really fucking solid belt, so I'm really excited about that. So Steiner hits the top rope, Frankensteiner, Eli hits the gravy train, they get the win. Really fun match. Post-match, we get to see some fun shenaniganry with Petey Williams. He's cutting a promo, putting over, I think it was, it may not have been right away. Sorry, I have the hiccups. I don't know why. I'm gonna see if I can't rectify this before it gets too rough. Alright, we should be good. I'm gonna leave that in because that's fucking funny. So, it may not have been right after this match, but a little bit later on in the night, PD's doing his promo before his X Division match with Seidel, and Scott Steiner walks up, and PD starts doing the 66 and 2/3 promo, and Steiner's like, "Shut up. We don't like your Canadian math. We don't need your Canadian math." And PD's eyes are so wide. He's so happy. And Scott walks off. He's like, hey, Scotty, we're going to go to Cracker Barrel? And Scott goes, yeah, bring your wife. Scott Steiner and PD are so good. These two should be a tag team. Eli should win the world title. Give his portion to PD. And PD and Scott should be tag team partners, because that would be that would make me happy. So I like the idea that LAX may have a little bit of not dissension, but they really did show that Conan is invaluable to them, because they're as good as they get, and they couldn't overcome the odds of not having him at ringside. Eli, again, looked like $1,000,000, and Scott Steiner, and he was one of the highlights of tonight's show. So yeah. 6-way match. Outside of the Brian Cage botched moonsault, which Brian Cage basically just like shrugged off, like, fuck this, I'm doing it again. Goes up, hits this amazing moonsault. He's 280 pounds. I would not want to be anyone in this match who had to deal with him. They did a great job of showing that Brian Cage is unstoppable, but also showing that if you have guys willing to work together, you can slow him down, because there's a few bits in this where Cage was wiped out ringside. Trevor Lee hit this, he does that amazing, I don't even know what you would call it. It's where he runs into the guy, and like it looks like they're going to collide stomach to stomach and just do that spot like at Bound for Glory 06 where Sting and Jarrett ran into each other and fell down. But Trevor Lee ends up taking the guy end over end into like some kind of like air somersault body slam bullshit. He hit that on Cage, and that was pretty spectacular. Everyone in this match had spots. Everyone in this match looked amazing. Takeshi Ishimori, I think, had the least amount of showcasing, if you will, while Trevor Lee, Xavier, and DJZ all looked fantastic. But I think it was Phantasma who really looked like the true threat to Cage. Would like to see more of that going forward. And Phantasma came down with one of the AAA belts. I forget which one it was, like the cruiserweight belt or the light heavyweight or the fusion. Or they got like 1,000 different championships in that promotion, man. I tell you what. He has the Latin American Championship, which is not to be confused with the Heavyweight Championship or the Fusion Championship, or, yeah, they got some crazy-ass belt names. So, Cage ends up going over, pins Desmond, there we go, with the drill claw. There was a lot of spots in this where he looked unfucking-stoppable, and he was wearing new ring gear, which is the one thing I've been demanding he wear, because his black singlet was boring. He's got some white kicks and some white trunks today, and he looked pretty fucking stellar. And, you know, this match was amazing. So, I ended up giving it a 3.5. It's really good. It only had the one botch. So that's definitely one of those things I would recommend you guys check out if you're nitpicking through the show. This is definitely one of the matches you should spend time watching, because it's really fucking good. Just for clarity, the tag team title, I gave that a 3 because it actually was really good. It wasn't long, but they all hit their spots. Scott looked, you know, really solid. So, you know, solid 3 opening matches. So then we get this match with Taya Valkyrie and Kiera Hogan, I think is how you pronounce it. So let's just be fair. Kiera Hogan is only 2.5 plus years into her wrestling career. She's 23 years old. She's young and experienced, but she's showing signs that she's going to be special. But that means that she's still showing signs that she's not ready yet. And this match had a lot of oof in it. They tried some things, and I applaud the effort, but there was a lot of botches in this match that I cannot blame on the ring, because a lot of it felt like they were falling into one another and then resetting their feet to hit moves, and that's usually a sign that someone fucked up. Still a commendable effort. I think I give it like a 1.5. So it's not, you know, it's not dog trash. You know, a 1.5 is a D. So, you know, at least it's not an F. But the big news came about midway through the match when Tessa Blanchard showed up on commentary, and she's basically all like, "I'm gonna beat you up, Josh." And Don Callis is like, "I would love to see that." So Tessa Blanchard is now part of the Impact's Knockout division, which I kind of called, but kind of not. I said someone's debuting tonight. Ta-da! I like Tessa. Her boyfriend is Ricochet. So hopefully AJ Lee is wrong and talent is sexually transmitted, because that would be awesome. Now, I make jokes, but Tessa's actually really talented. Ricochet jokes aside, she's phenomenal. Is she as good? Because I think I've only seen a handful of her matches, but I think if I remember correctly, she's definitely like her father. She's a stretcher. She's gonna work limbs. Is she as good of a limb worker as Ricochet is a high flyer? I wouldn't say so, but I think she's good enough to stand out. So I think she's going to come in here and do pretty well. So by the by, one of the things that I think Impact has a struggle with at times is making their talent look like stars. Kiera Hogan looked like a star. Her hair was literally fire. She had the greatest little in-ring outfit. She's so adorable. But the match could have been better. And I think it could have been better in the sense that it was long, drawn out. There's a lot of blown spots, but it was also a lot longer than it needed to be. It was about 8+ minutes. It should have been about 3 or 4. But that's just me. And it was a late edition, so it wasn't even like a match that they were hinting at. So, I don't know. We moved to the X Division Championship match. This match disappointed me severely, not in terms of its quality. I gave it a 3.75. Like it's fine. It's a B+ match, man. But Matt Sydal won, and that broke my heart. Really fun match. The crowd wasn't that into it. The crowd really didn't pick up until the last 3 matches. But this felt more like the Impact Zone of old, and I don't like that. Well, there's the Impact Zone. We'll call them the Impact Zone of the Rising era, I guess we could call it. When they were really redefining themselves, I think, 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, like they were really loud and popping back then. Then you had the Impact Zone in 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. 2017, we started to see a bit of a revival, and 2018's been pretty good. But tonight felt like 2013 at times, and that's not good. So Sydal actually has a really good match. PD hits this Canadian Destroyer, and Sydal rolls out of the ring, and PD has to go after him. It takes about 30+ seconds or so to get him back in the ring and get him set up. And PD ends up needing to take him up top for a Super Canadian Destroyer. It does not go well. Sydal hits on PD. No, he doesn't. I'm sorry, because they actually Matt Sydal went for the Shooting Star Press maybe 3 times and missed all 3. And ironically enough, Sydal ends up hitting a move that would end up closing out the main event match. It was a crucifix driver, I think is what they called it, and Sydal ended up winning off of that. So that was pretty. It was a pretty good match. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I just didn't like the fact that PD didn't win. We then got the House of Hardcore match. It's a 3-on-3 hardcore match. Violent as fuck. Moose went end over end into a ladder. Eddie got dropped onto a steel chair, and I thought his knee got blown out. There we go. Moose then takes an ace cutter from Jake Christ off the top rope through like a bunch of tables on top of Dave. Thumbtacks were everywhere. It's pretty fucking violent, man. I loved it. It was great. Ending comes, and Dreamer ends up eating a low blow into I think it was just a straight up low blow, and Sami Callihan gets the pin and wins the match. Eddie snaps post-match, though, ties him up with tape into the ring ropes, and starts just paddling him with kendo stick shots. He then goes to, I think he picked up the barbed wire bat or something, and he's going to drive it into his face, but Dreamer gets in his way, the ref gets into his way, he pushes them all aside. Then Alicia comes out, and she gets in the ring to stop Eddie, and Eddie turns around. No, it was the kendo stick still. And he ends up hitting Alicia with the kendo stick, and Dreamer just pushes Eddie away. He's like, "What did you do?" So this I thought was a really great ending. So I wasn't too big of a fan of the low blow finish from Callihan on Dreamer, but like the actual story aspects of it was phenomenal, because Eddie snaps, goes after Callihan, nearly kills him storyline wise. Alicia comes down to try to pull her husband back to sanity. He cold clocks her by accident because he was whipping around to see who was grabbing at him, and they've really emphasized both on the commentary and on social media, especially with Sami Callihan, that this feud's not over. So this blood feud is now kicked up a notch, and they're going to go into Windsor, I think is what they said, Windsor, Ontario, for Slammiversary. And yeah, it's going to be insane. This feud's going to end in Slammiversary in Canada. Like, mark my words, it's going to be phenomenal. Everyone here took big spots. Everyone here looked phenomenal. Dreamer actually cut a really good promo prior to it, where he referenced Martin Luther King having a dream, and how the 3 of them together represent a lot of different aspects of life, and they're coming together, and OVE wants to tear that kind of cohesion apart, and that's why he hates them. So really good stuff all around. I gave it a 4. I would have given it a lot more, but I wasn't too big on the ending. We then get Ali versus Su Yung. This is what angers me. Kira Hogan and Taya Valkyrie go 8 minutes. Ali and Su Yung go less than that. It went about 7+. The match itself started off real slow, but about halfway through, maybe a little bit more towards the end, it starts to kick up when they start doing these running corner spots that I thought really added a lot of pizzazz to the match in terms of its performance. Really it started to really kick up, really got exciting. Really fun match. Like, it wasn't that long, but Ali looked phenomenal in this match. And she cut a promo beforehand saying that people see her as a paper champion and how, she wants to end that kind of perception. So this really worked in that regard. She looked phenomenal. Su Yung, and here's the thing: Su Yung got pinned clean, but she actually ended up getting her heat back post match because Braxton's like, "I know you're mad, Sue. So will you marry me?" And Su Young's like, he pulls him up, and they're like, "Oh, they're gonna kiss." And then Su Yung hits him with the Muda Mist, red mist to the face, and then hits him with a mandible claw. And they really put over this fact that Braxton Sutter's becoming kind of like a gigolo character, which is exactly what I think they should make him. So I think that's awesome. And Su Yung got her heat back by taking out Braxton Sutter. So all around solid booking for that. I forgot to mention this earlier. Early on, Matt Sydal and Josh Matthews part ways because Josh is now, I think the idea was before Jeremy Borash left was that Josh was going to transition off commentary for a little while and be a manager because he's great at getting heat. But when that didn't come to fruition and JB left, they were like, well, fuck it. So they ended up ending that storyline, and yeah, it was fine. I liked it. But, considering what was going on, I don't blame them for dropping it. Don Callis, by the way, was phenomenal on commentary all night. Just saying. Then in the main event, Pentagon versus Ray Phoenix versus Austin Aries. Mackenzie Mitchell did the opening announcements. Not great. She does not have the same gravitas as certain other people. Just saying. Overall, I thought this match was really good. I wouldn't say any of the matches tonight were match of the year candidates, but I also have to say that all these matches were extremely consistent. There wasn't, outside of the Kira Hogan Su Yung match, not Su Yung, Kira Hogan Taya Valkyrie match, there really wasn't a dud on this show. Like, every match was really good. And if it wasn't for, certain minor issues, all of them would be, B's at least. It was phenomenal in that regard. The main event I thought was kind of lacking. I don't know what it was missing, but it was missing something because it wasn't it wasn't 5 stars. It wasn't an instant classic. It wasn't anything along that lines, but it was still pretty good. So that's important to mention. The big thing, though, came at the end when, of all people, Pentagon Jr. hit that cradle driver thing that Matt Sydal hit. He hit that on Austin Aries. Sorry, not Ray Phoenix. And ended up getting the win. So that means that Pentagon Jr., as you'll see from the graphic on the video, is your new Impact World Champion. So that's now a thing. Go figure. I thought it was possible because, he's working with the company all the way through Slammiversary at the very least. He's working the set of tapings. He's working one and only pay-per-view in June. He's going to be working the next set of tapings. So I thought it was possible. I just didn't think they'd do it. So there you go. We also thought we were going to be getting a mention of a new belt. That did not come to fruition. The Impact Grand Championship was the only belt not to get a new model, which makes me think that they're going to do away with it. We'll see what happens going forward. They're going to start taping, I believe, tomorrow. and Orlando. So we'll see. We'll see what's up with that. Overall, and because how I do the shows is I grade each match out of 5, and you know, each grouping has a numerical value. A 4 to a 5 is an A, a 3 to a 4 is a B, a 2 to a 3 is a C, and so on and so forth. Add them up, divide them by the number of matches. That gives you your score. And this got a 3.215, which is good for a B minus, which is actually how I feel this match went, or not this match, but the show went. Was a 3.125. You know, I thought it was a good, solid B show. If they had a big debut, because like Tessa Blanchard, nothing to shake a stick at, but also still has a lot to go in terms of establishing credibility as name recognition. If you had brought in like a Rey Mysterio or someone of that ilk, then yeah, I would say that this would probably be a high B show in that regard. But no, we didn't, so you don't. Really, this was a good offering, a good outing, and honestly, if you're not an Impact fan, if you can stomach some of the lackluster crowd responses, because you'll enjoy this show quite emphatically. And Eddie Edwards got probably the loudest pop of the night in terms of entrances, which I thought was a cool little thing that you don't really say a lot of about Eddie. You know, he's always someone who is constantly liked by the crowd, but he's not always someone who is constantly, you know, top tier crowd reactions every night. So definitely a show that I think everyone will enjoy. At the end of the day, I don't think you could have asked for a better outing. I really don't. It's just one of those where you really have to appreciate what they did at this event. Eight matches, all really good stuff. You know, this was all spanning out of the Alberto El Patron disaster. And to go from El Patron possibly being a champion to now Pentagon, who is easily one of the best wrestlers in the world, and current Lucha Underground champion. This is big stuff. This is big news. He's the only man to ever hold the Latin American Championship in AAA, the Lucha Underground Championship in Lucha Underground, and the Impact Wrestling World Championship. So, history made tonight, folks. We're going to open up this next set of tapings with Scott Steiner with a tag team belt with Eli Drake, a still heel but free agent manager looking Matt Sydal, a no longer paper champion Ali, a grand champion Austin Aries. Going to be interesting to see how that develops from here, as well as now Pentagon Junior, Pentagon Dark, Penta L0M as Impact World Champion. Like, this is a very weird but exciting time for Impact. So I'm excited. You should be excited. We all should be excited. Hell yeah. So with all that being said, I rambled for a lot longer than I thought I would. Kind of got distracted at a moment or two just due to a lot of just, you know, big news, big shit, you know, happening. By the by, Redemption had unveiled a new entrance format. I think it is awesome. It is compact. It's not as gaudy as the screens were, so I like that. I'm still hoping one day we bring back the tunnel, but that's me. I'm a mark for old school TNA nostalgia. Overall, hell of a show. And even Brian Alvarez, someone who's not exactly known for his Impact love, said that it was a good show, and that they have one of the coolest world championships. Oh no, I'm sorry, has the coolest world champion in some time. So, yeah, Impact, making waves. Check it out. Definitely good shit. So, there you go. Alright, folks, I'm going to call it a night. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you guys check out Redemption. Hell of a show. Not bad at all. So with all that being said, I'm Chad. Check us out on Twitter at NERDCORP. Also on the website at realnerdcorp.com. Didn't post a column on Sunday because, even I need a break once in a while. So, you know, Mr. Half Day Off right here. So, with that being said, I bid you all adieu. Be sure to download all the other shows that we have throughout the week, links of which will be probably down below because, why the hell not? And with that being said, thanks for listening, and I will see you guys next Thursday for another Making an Impact. Or tomorrow for SportsCorp if you want to listen to that on Mixlr.com/NerdCorp. So as always, be sure to be good to one another, enjoy your night, and as always, watch more wrestling.